about 2K when it comes to what you thinking might be the best for the game. But you can't fix the people who play it and how they look at 2K. You see what I'm saying? The egos and how what I'm saying, the amount of egos and the competitiveness of between players and shit. You know what I'm saying? And then the aspect of trying to put five random people and going against each other. And five people on the same team that don't know each other, that don't give a fuck about each other. You know what I mean? And expecting that to work every time down. Because it just doesn't. Sometimes it could be a skill thing, but sometimes it's other things, bro. It's personality shits that get in the way. Like me, I ain't got no real ego when it comes to like playing. Bro, I can literally have zero for my entire stat line, and the other team is basically, if you want to say my team is carrying me, fine, okay, but you gotta look at context in some cases. You see what I'm saying? I may not start out with the ball in my hand, so I can't even get into a groove with the ball. And then randomly I get the ball, and I'm like, okay, well, let me see what I can do. But I'm not, the momentum isn't with me. You know what I'm saying? So in situations like those, I just focus on playing defense. Try to make sure that my guys are scoring. I'm in the appropriate places. If I can maybe grab a rebound or two because of the way my build is, I'm fine with that. You know what I'm saying? If I have like a 2 rebound, I'll get like 2 rebounds, maybe 1 assist, and like and like but like a bunch of other shit where it's like it doesn't show up on the scoreboard. Zero, that means 0 points, 0 steals, 0 blocks, whatever, right? But I was in the right places at the right time. I prevented some easy shots, and I helped us win despite my stat sheet. I look at it as still a good game for me. You see what I'm saying? And mind you, I've hit 20 points in past 2Ks. I've gone for 40 before. You know, so I've had high scoring games before. These things can happen if things align. For me, I would argue, call me a system player. To be honest with you, I'm a system player. I am not the system. I'm not James Harden. I am a system player, but I don't look at that as a negative, derogatory like way to describe myself. When I call myself a role player, I relish in me being a role player and playing a pass first. Let me get my dynamic scores going, and if I miss somebody, I'm trying to fix that. You see what I'm saying? But if I can't, you got to understand that. You see what I'm saying? Because again, I have four other mouths I got to feed. I'll see something that's open, but I'm not the one with the ball in my hands. Like people who want to complain about like the point guard not passing or like me not passing, you know what I'm saying? Like whatever, right? You complain about someone not passing, but then it'll be your turn to hit the right guy and like, be the better man, right? Or a woman or whatever. But yet you'll sit there and you'll ball hog and there's someone else wide open because you just don't care, right? Or you just trying to ball hog essentially, right? Because you finally get your opportunity to score. But it's like that's not better for the team. But I can understand your mindset is fuck the team at that point. And it's like that just I don't rock with that. Period. I just don't. Like I said, I am perfectly fine with someone else running the offense and everything else, and I will play the little side character role. I don't like sitting in the corner. That shit's boring as fuck to me personally. I don't even really. I want people to kind of, if they're gonna sit in the corner, they're there to space the floor out and stuff, but they don't always have to do that. You see what I'm saying? Like I would say, make your build a little bit more diverse than that, than which one you have to, anyways. But still. You know what I'm saying? And just have some like little moves going, move around. You know what I'm saying? Just understanding the spacing. Like pay attention to your teammates and their tendencies. If they have a tendency, if like one or two of your people on your team, even I'm not talking about this, not even just from like a point guard perspective. Even if you're like the small forward, or shooting guard, or power forward, whatever, right? And you're like coming up, you're going down the court, point guard bringing the ball down the floor. Understand what your teammates like to do, or what do they tend to do, and then when they like to do it. And you know what I'm saying? Because in relation to where the ball is, all this little details every game, and it can tell you a lot about your teammates that does not show up in their builds. Fuck their build. What they do on the stick, what they do on the controller. Someone standing in a corner randomly, you see what I'm saying? So I'm like, okay, so now that could mean a couple of different things. Either A, pending where we are at in the game, pending what the stat sheet looking like. You know what I'm saying? He could A, be mad, B, trying to space the floor out because people are clogging up the paint or some shit. C, I don't know if I said A, B, C, if I said 1, 2, 3, I have no idea. I forgot midway. He was probably scoring in the paint, but now he trying to see if he can, you know what I'm saying, get some shit off of the spot up, maybe even draw some, like, draw the center away and be an extra passing option, and then he could start stretching the floor with his jump shot. You know what I'm saying? So he was doing what he was doing interior, but then he decided to go exterior for some fucking reason. Especially if you were having success, you might as well be down there. The reason why he would probably want to go from being in the paint to the 3-point line is probably because people keep running into the paint, and he's down there already, so he's just trying to say, fuck it, I'll just go and shoot the ball because I got too many people running at me while I'm in the paint. Just complain about, like, you know, paint mashers. I mean, people in the paint and stuff. It's kind of the same way, vice versa. It's just two sides complaining at each other. It's like men and women in the current day, in the modern day, just constantly bickering at each other. You know what I mean? Can't really come to terms on anything. Same thing with like PlayStation versus Xbox niggas for the most part. In some capacity, not in all of it. People just constantly at each other's throats instead of like, okay, well, let me try to work with the team. I'm gonna just, since everyone wants to cut to the basket, I'm gonna go and sit in the corner and use what I put in my 3-point range, so that way I can be a little bit more versatile and it works best for the team. I just want them to hit. That's it. If I'm gonna stand in the corner, you know what I'm saying? I'm not speaking from my perspective. I'm speaking as if I was like some of those centers. Okay, me personally, I view it as somewhat selfish. Somewhat, you know what I mean? Because again, if the ball circles to you, it circles to you. If I miss you, I miss you. You see what I'm saying? It's like there's a lot going on. Sometimes I don't see something because I'm dealing with somebody that's close to me. You see what I'm saying? I'm dealing with a defender. I'm trying to protect the ball. I'm trying to bring the ball up the court. And often time frames, the average 2K player, especially if they're not the main ball handler, does not make themselves available to receive a pass. Just to basically, you know, I get the ball from you, so now that way we can run the offense without wasting too much time with you and that damn defender. That's rare. Everyone is just running around up there, contested and shit. They didn't give you no kind of passing options, so you got to just kind of try and like outwit the dude with slow ass dribble moves, and you know what I mean. You gotta do all that when it's not necessary. Like, you're making my job harder. Just simply, especially if I'm the one running the offense or something, just come up to me, be available, so I can just throw you the ball, maybe get the ball back, or even if I'm not getting the ball back, that's fine. I'm gonna just go and work off ball. You know what I mean? Set some screens, maybe use the flub in the corner, or you know, something along those lines, and still make myself useful to the play. You know what I mean? Versus just simply, I gotta keep this shit, and I'm gonna just keep running up, and potentially getting the ball stolen up on occasions. Like, yeah, that did happen to me and that shooting guard dude, but that's because of the fact that, again, he wasn't making himself available to me, and when I was making myself available to him, he just wasn't throwing me the fucking ball. It's like, no shit, we're gonna turn the ball over a lot. It can be simple, and there's other time frames where it's not so simple. I don't want to overtly like just simplify the game and stuff to where like, oh yeah, it works like this black and white every time. Context matters, and it's situational stuff. This is why it is that I don't really like even if I was speaking to my teammates, I'm not gonna tell you how to move. You see what I'm saying? Other than like maybe if I see something impromptu in the moment, you know, so I'll tell someone to keep going. Like if it's like, I'm talking like on my cousins, or again, if I ever decide to play this shit and I play with randoms and I'm talking to randoms and I should communicate, I'll tell someone to keep going. I'll tell someone to just stay cornered. You know what I'm saying? Or whatever. I don't think I could ever do the thing where like how like park players or some shit, they'll tell someone to specifically cut. They'll cut and they'll just launch that bitch to them. I could never do that because I myself don't trust that that's going to work. That's why, even though I've seen people do it and do it successfully, I myself just don't trust it. Unless I myself see it as like it's an impromptu thing, I didn't instruct it, that person just cut on their own. And if I see it, cool. Now, it's a less efficient way to go about doing it because it's less coordinated, but it's still sometimes can provide the same desired result. And it may not be as clean, but you still get 2 points. Sometimes it would be nice to kind of, you know, tell someone to cut and then see if that draws something else away. You see what I'm saying? Yeah, like tell someone to cut, see if they happen to go back door and actually be successful, does that draw over the opposite corner? And trying to pay attention to not only my offensive players' tendencies, but their defense's tendencies as well. What are they looking to do? Because I can't hear the defense, but I can see what they're doing. Unfortunate, it's one of the things that's unfortunate about video games is they're going to be making their characters look the same with the accessories and everything else. So sometimes it gets a bit hard to understand, okay, is that the small forward, the power forward, defender? And because I know that whenever I send the right corner to the paint, and he's just successful, the left corner guy, the power forward or small forward, whoever, he likes to drop down to try and stop the play on the rim, even though it's a bad rotation. I could easily dot his guy instead of dotting the guy that's actually cutting. Then how habitual is that? Even if I miss it, that's still good information because you're downloading somebody and they're not even the one actively guarding. When you're on defense, it's all about downloading the person that you're guarding. You know what I mean? Like there's some capacity, like, and just understand, are they a spam dribbler? Do they like to just do other shit? You know what I mean? Like today, I would argue I only came across like one person that was kind of long dribble me and stuff. It was only one person. Everyone else was kind of more or less like throwing the ball. It was throwing that bitch around, kind of the same way I was. But like there was a couple of times where they were just a little bit more aggressive. You know, they're typically a little bit more aggressive. They're trying to, you know, go to the rim and maybe hit a mid range or maybe hit a 3-pointer. You know what I mean? Things like that. I don't know who I'm gonna like. You know, one of the things I don't know who I'm gonna be matched up with until we get into the game. Game doesn't work exactly like Call of Duty, where like you know, generally speaking, what weapons niggas is using, and you know how strong that shit is. You see what I'm saying? So it's black and white for the most part. Whereas like with something like 2K, there might be a slight difference to someone's build, and I can mean all the difference. If it was like a meta build, someone may have used the meta format, but then changed it in a way to where they have certain advantages. Though, even though the build looks like the meta, they didn't take away, like, it looks like the meta in some capacity. It's just slightly altered, and those altercations can literally turn that build into something else. It makes me regret like watching some of the YouTubers that I do watch when it comes to like, because like they play 2K, but they don't play 2K all the fucking time. So when I do watch one of their 2K videos, YouTube gets in their fucking brains that I want to watch more, right? So then I start seeing the 6'5" build, this 6'5" guy, shooting guard, the rebounding guide, center, that, you know what I mean? And it just fills an endless amount of that. You know what I mean? Even in videos where that's not even the main set piece, someone is basically trying to sell you on a build. It's constantly like they're trying to sell you on some shit. And I'm like, that is high key fucking annoying. Everyone is human, and I get the fact that 2K's format is extremely fucking flawed, especially with the fact that they do not let you respect any fucking builds. But it's like people got a brain, you know what I'm saying? Just make something that you want to make. You know what I mean? Have an idea in mind and understand that there's risk, right? And like it's cool if you want to take their build and shit, like this as like a general template, fine. You know what I mean? But like one for one, meaning like every attribute, every metric, wingspan, height, all of it, one for one. Hell, some people even make their appearance like the fucking people who, you know what I'm saying? Like they make their guy like tattoos and everything else. I don't have any concrete examples of this, but I'm sure it's a thing where you make your build one for one like that YouTuber that you love so fucking much for no fucking reason. A little hit to your reputation for shit like that, because you won't let people respect builds. Like if someone makes a build the first time around, they should still be able to just go back and make another build. I think everyone should get at least one try. You get at least one respect for your first build. I think for your first build only, you should be able to get at least one time of being able to respect it. Now, most people would probably want to just be an all the time thing. If I don't like the build, let me just go back. And I'll be honest with you, I am 100% for that. I'm just looking at it from a perspective of, I'm looking at it from a business perspective for 2K, and I'm looking at it from a perspective of the consumer as well. I think being able to respect the build one time and you're not locked into it, that means you can cancel out of it and be like, you know what, maybe I want to stay with this build, or maybe, you know what, maybe not right this second. I need to figure out some more details, or maybe there's another patch around the corner that's about to patch something, so let me see real quick if that's going to hurt my build or help my build, or, you know, hurt the general competition that's out there. But once you respect your build and you're asked, are you sure? And you hit confirm, and I mean, have it be the thing the same way like how you delete a build, hold the button, you know what I'm saying, and you hold that bitch for a long ass time to be really sure, okay? Because then at that point, it's your fault. At that point, it's your fault that you respect it. See what I'm saying? So, I mean, and so you respect the build, and it's gonna go right back to whatever current overall that you had it at. So basically, and again, you only can do this one time. That's me looking at it again from helping 2K out, so that way they can continue to do the scummy shit that they do, even though I don't even fully approve of it in any capacity. I think personally they need to like numb that shit down. I ain't saying they gotta completely stop with the microtransactions and some shit, but they gotta numb that bitch down, at least to where it's not so much pay to win. I'm also looking at this from a business perspective because they do gotta make it. Obviously, If they're looking at it from a sales profit situation, then they're probably looking at it as like a lot. I don't know how many millions of dollars is actually going into the game, and versus it going into something else that has nothing to do with the games. I am mainly for the consumer, but I also understand things from a business perspective, because if the businesses can't get their money, they can't keep producing the stuff. You see what I'm saying? Like, the shit is costly to make a game look like 2K, to have the sprites do the things that they do. It costs money to have pro play in the game, to get the, the NBA licensing and all this shit costs a lot of fucking money. You know what I'm saying? So I understand businesses getting their fucking money. They go overboard. They, like, it comes to a point where you're being greedy. Okay, you already have enough on your plate that you've been given, but you keep going back for even more, and it's just a constant thing. It's just money hungry, and it comes at the sacrifice of the quality of the game itself. It just shows a lack of care for the consumer and them playing the game. Like, you just don't give a damn. They gotta get their money, but they ain't gotta be greedy fucking whores about it either. One of the number one things that they can do is being able to go back on your build and basically take all your attributes off of your build. I mean, even going so far as to be like, you know what? But you only can do it for like the same position probably. Because I don't know, because especially when I'm looking at the builder in this game in particular, like, they give shorter players more freedom of, like, freedom to kind of do a little bit more, like 6'4" and under. Taller players, they're a bit more restricted. With the current way the builder is, if they were to let you respec your build, they would have to at the very minimum position lock. Now, you probably can, like, I don't know if they would have to height lock you or whatever, but they have to kind of restrict you in some aspect, because the attributes they're not gonna match up well. You know what I mean? Like, you're gonna be at 91 from like a point guard perspective, but if you try to make a center that's a 7-footer, I'm not even, like, you probably would have used up way more points. You know what I'm saying? Because you're taller. The conversion rate for it doesn't match up. And then I'm sure with 2K, it's always possible that when it comes to respecing a build, if this shit would create demigod somehow. I guarantee if they were to do that, it would somehow, some way create demigods. And I don't mean even if this thing was to get like some kind of viewership or whatever, between this rants, because I've talked about multiple points. Even if it was to get some viewership, I don't mean to fully discourage them potentially from doing it, but this is a risk. We all know it's risky, and we have people who fucking go and take advantage and exploit the game. So, with that being said, there's going to more than likely be some kind of glitch to where you respec your build, and you can basically have your 6'4" animations at center or some stupid shit like that, and then it completely breaks the game, and there ain't shit they can do about it. You have people who play your game that genuinely don't respect it. Like, they don't respect your game. The simple matter of going out of your way to exploit the game is a semblance of disrespect to your game, to your product. But it's also on you, because you're not giving them a reason to respect it. You see what I'm saying? You have no fail-safe in, like, you have nothing on the back end to prevent people from cheating or exploiting in a way of where they fuck with the coding in some capacity. You know what I mean? Like, you have nothing to prevent them from doing that. So they can get away with that, and then guess what? All the consumers who play your game are now getting punished as a result of it, because every game that dude plays with that build, the build will look one way, and it doesn't really make sense. But you see what the guy, you see how he's dribbling, you see how he's moving, and you see how tall he is, and you're just like, wow, we're doing this. This is literally a demigod, moving fast as shit, tall as fuck. You know what I mean? It's just stuff like that. And so that way these restrictions have to stay in place. Part of the fun that we are lacking when it comes to 2K is partially our fault as a community. I've always been adamant about 2K is like 50% of it, and the community is 50% of it. Everyone here is to blame for the shit products that we get year after year. Now, the greed part of that shit is purely on 2K, because that shit does not help in any way, shape, or form other than lining out their fucking pockets. And they should be ashamed of themselves for doing that shit. As far as the game-to-game stuff, there's time frames here where the game can appear fucking fun, okay? But it's the people who play it that simply just ruin it. And there's no real solution for that, because you can't change people, bro. no matter what you instill into the game. You can be as restrictive. If you're too restrictive, you prevent fun from being had. But if you're too loose about it, people can get away with anything. They can get away with murder. There's no real fine line here. I personally think we're way too far off the deep end at this point in 2K25. We're too far off the deep end. This shit has been going on for way too goddamn long with the exploitations and the cheating and everything else. I'm not accusing anyone who I played against today as cheaters. Personally, I didn't feel like that was the case in any capacity. I feel like every game that I played today was legitimate. But at some point, there might be some things that happen that might cause some question marks to be had, right? And usually for me, the biggest indication would be on the jump shooting side of things, unless they change something and I myself am not aware of. Outside of that, you can't change the people who play your game. You know what I'm saying? The people who play are like, whether they be playing this shit for years, whether they've been playing this shit like the last month or so. You know what I mean? It's like people are going to be people at the end of the day. And more often than not, just like when people go out and socialize and they either A, don't get along with strangers for legitimate reasons, that shit carries over here into 2K when you play games and stuff. When people hop in, like me, I'm different in this way where I'm the same out there, you know what I'm saying, where it's like I don't really care about strangers, all that stuff like that. I kind of just stay in my lane. But when it comes to playing 2K, I want all of us to basically be able to cooperate together and find the best way to win as a team. You know what I'm saying? Meaning even sacrificing my shot diet, you know, and potential shots that I could have taken for what I would imagine a better shot. You know, because it's more satisfying to me seeing my teammates thrive. This is not word candy. This is not something to make me sound better or make me sound good or some shit. Personally, I couldn't give a fuck about that. Personally, this is how I've always played. You can ask anybody who I've ever played with. That's Grew Up, Trippy, Coda Banks, or whatever, right? You can ask any of these people. I've always played 2K this way. I prioritize them first. Hell, you can go back to what there's proof in it. If you were to go back in 2K, my 2K18 playlist, I literally played this exact same way since I was a kid. I've always played this way. And if you can find some of my 2K17 videos, it would probably be a struggle. It's the same thing. Sometimes I'm a little bit more aggressive for my scoring, sure. But I'm still a pass first point guard more than anything else. And because I thrive when my teammates, you know what I'm saying? I don't look at it as a carry job. I look at it as, I guess in a sense, you could be like, right, they carry the offense. I'm like, cool. I'm going to fill in where I need to fill in. Okay, I maximize as a role player and I thrive. And I like that. I like that. I don't need to be the superstar. And if it comes down to me dropping a 20-point game at random, cool. You know what I'm saying? I'm fine with that. All I want is the win, and I want my niggas to fucking flourish. I want my guys to go out there and have good games and be, and be gassing my niggas up. Because I know that when they are feeling good, feeling happy and everything else is going to fall in line. I don't do that shit when it comes to being toxic with people. I give people chances. It's other people who take those chances and run with it and do something terrible with it. They do something bad with it. You know what I mean? And I don't mean missing a couple open jumpers. You know what I'm saying? I don't mean, like, if you feel like you can hit a shot and you're genuinely trying, I don't care. Okay? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's an open shot. I felt like there was no better shot at the time. I'm going to keep passing you the ball. You know what I'm saying? And otherwise, I need you to understand, if you're not hitting your shot, I need you to help us in a different way. You see what I'm saying? Whether that be setting a screen, whether that be rolling to the paint, whatever. But if your shot isn't falling, I need you to help us in a different way. Because that's not it. At least for this game. We can circle back to it. I ain't saying that you got to just stop shooting. Period. Okay, because who knows? Maybe if you make a few shots in the paint, you know what I'm saying? If you've been missing all first quarter, and then we go into the second quarter, I give you like 1 or 2 more attempts, and you're missing those, and then we rotate to a different strategy with you. You're making shots into the paint. You might make one in the third and potentially in the fourth as you start to gain momentum. That's it. Like, all of that can factor in. Now, again, a lot of that can be buckled down to: are you bullshitting us? Meaning, do you actually have a 3-ball? Do you actually have some kind of like outside game or not? Or do you not know your jump shot or what? But it can be learned in the midst of a game, okay? Me personally, I haven't even shot my damn shot. I haven't even practiced my jump shot with the latency. And I greened, like, I want to say, like, within, like, my first couple of games with this build, I greened my first corner jump shots wide open. You know what I'm saying? And I hadn't practiced with this shit. And I know that there's latency. It's possible to learn it mid-game. It's just difficult because you want more shots so that way you can learn the repetition of how you need to shoot the ball. Hey, shoot it and shoot it with confidence. You know what I'm saying? Guess what the timing is. Remember what your visual cue is. Just try to work it out as you get those shots. But understand that you may not always get the same opportunities. I myself try to not freeze anybody out because I need all 4 players. I need all 4 players that are on my team. I will not thrive unless they thrive. You know what I'm saying? And there's time frames where it's like, well, ain't nobody thriving, right? So history, often time frames, I get us going. You know what I'm saying? I get a shot to drop, or I get an and one, or I get a dunk, or I get a steal, or something. I do something, and then now, okay, so now we got a little bit of momentum on offense. Niggas is hitting shots randomly out of nowhere. It swear to God, it'd be like out of nowhere. Niggas all of a sudden start hitting shots and shit. It was just that one play, or sometimes it's just a couple possessions, right, where I have to lead the mental for a bit. You know what I'm saying? I have to break away from the pass first and actually try to shot create for myself. And I can do it. It's just not my main thing. So sometimes passing the ball is just not the way to go about it. I can understand that criticism towards my game. I give even randoms multiple chances. Multiple chances. And this is not ear candy. This is not me saying it, okay? I don't just, the moment someone fucks up, I'm in your ear and I'm telling you you're trash and you're dog shit because, again, and I'm constantly complaining. It doesn't help. At a certain point in time, I get it, bro. The shit can be going so far south and you're not getting no touches and shit like that. I've been there. This is from one 2K player to another 2K player, whoever it is that's watching. It's what I'm speaking to. I've been there, okay? Where you're just having a shitty game and it's because you can't get no you can't get any momentum, and because you can't get the ball enough, or you're not getting, or like they're missing you on cuts and stuff. But you have to understand, unless y'all are actively talking to each other, there's going to be missed passes. There's going to be missed drives, even if it's right fucking in front of you. And sometimes someone could literally right in front of you, like you could be right in front of the guy with the ball. There's a good chance he saw you and he hit the wrong fucking button. And it stings, right? Because it was like that was a chance for like 3 points or whatever, right? That was a chance for you to get a bucket, an easy score. And it's like, it happens. And obviously, even when they can't afford to be, it's just one of those things where you gotta bite the bullet. You grimace about it, and then you just kind of you try to work through that shit. You know what I mean? You try to work through that shit. And it's easier to say as a point guard because in some cases, but you also have to understand that this time for some people, like the guy inbounding the ball, he don't want to give me this shit. You know what I'm saying? And like, yeah, like there are time frames where I feel some kind of way about that. But I just, at some point in time, I'm like, well, one, especially with this game in particular, I don't have enough experience playing this shit yet. All right, like 2K is 2K. You know, I'm still doing what I was doing back then now. You know what I mean? Just being honest with you. Maybe not my 2K17 self, but I'm still doing what I'm doing. I ain't tripping too much about it, especially this early on. Now, as I get more experience and I like get more reps under me, I'm gonna, you know what I'm saying, like I'll probably want the ball more for me to run the offense. But I've never been the type to where it's me or nothing. It's heliocentric with me at the helm of it and nothing else. Like I've never been that type. If someone else wants to run that offense, I'm fine with that. If you feel like you got it, cool. I'm just know that I am a secondary pair of eyes. I am a secondary playmaker in that instance. If you want to be the primary one, or you want to more or less go for more of the scoring thing, with just having the ball in your hands, that's fine. I just ask that you hit your shots. That's it. Because see, one, if you're doing that, I need you to hit your shots. Two, if you're the one with the ball in your hands, I need you to understand that there's other people who also want the ball too. You see what I'm saying? And I'm not talking about me. I can literally not get the ball the entire game and I'll be fine, all right? As long as, because I'll be focused on playing defense and shit. I can find a way to. Other players on our team may want that bitch, okay? Especially if they get open or something like, or they, you know, so they may want it in a certain area. They may want that motherfucker. So you may be getting the majority of the shot diet, but I need you to kind of be on the up and up about if our teammates, if you can get them the ball. You know what I mean? Now, if you cook it, you are the number one option, okay? That's the way I look at it, all right? I don't sit here and just be like, nah, this dude didn't score yet, so I gotta pass up on the guy that's on fire to throw the ball to the other guy here so he can get a shot up and stuff. Yes, does he need his touches to stay in the game and stuff? Yes, but he also has to be mature enough to understand that, one, especially if it's in like a somewhat a back and forth type of game, or like in the middle of the game or whatever, and we got a guy that's hot, we got to play around him, and you will at some point get your touches, or this just may not be the game for you. You know what I'm saying? Just like, I'm not like 2K as a whole, but like this game in particular may not be your game to flourish. You see what I'm saying? So you have to find other ways to fucking get involved. And some people can accept that, and other people can't. You know what I'm saying? Even as I'm saying that, you're probably shaking your fucking head like, man, fuck this nigga. You don't know what the fuck he's talking about. But the thing is, I'm telling the truth here. So you gotta look at it from a bachelor's perspective. Fuck, like this works realistically, yes, but fuck realism for a second. It'll work better for all of us. You're playing with your other randoms, especially if they're not bullshitting and you're actively trying to win the game. It'll work better if you actually have a fucking team. It'll work better. You know what I mean? I ain't saying you gotta fucking be the best of fucking friends, but damn, it's like you got your coworker. You know what I'm saying? Y'all both say what's up to each other, and y'all both working the fucking the machine or whatever. Y'all both machine operators or whatever, and y'all both are working to get a common to achieve a common goal. Okay, we put in our hours, put in our shifts to make our money at the end of the day here. And our money in this example for 2K is winning the game. You know what I'm saying? The end goal is to win the game. We do it needs to be done in order to win the game. So we walk away with a win game, then we can hope that maybe the next couple of games, especially if our egos are more on the upper side, egos are more on the sensitive side, you know, maybe next game it'll be a thing where we can look in your direction and we can maybe try to get you going in some capacity. You know what I'm saying? But if a guy has it going that day or in those games, you see what I'm saying? You gotta, I ain't saying he always gotta get the ball. No, he's gonna be one of the main targets. You see what I'm saying? He's one of the main targets out of the four of y'all. You see what I'm saying? Until we can get the rest of y'all going. Because again, the last thing we want, especially in a situation where y'all are cold, like the other three players, y'all are cold, including myself, and then we stop feeding him a couple of times, and then now he loses his rhythm. You know what I'm saying? So now the entire lineup is basically, now we all sort of cold and shit. So now the offense is truly fun. You see what I'm saying? Because at least we had the guy that was being, you know, our main scoring option. Now everybody's just like, yeah. everyone can't make a fucking shot. Now everyone's taking contested shots. And then that's when you get your little 25. One side got 25 points, the other side got like 87. And it's only the third fucking quarter. You know, I can't fucking be cohesive with each other. You know what I'm saying? You can't just fill in the role. Because I'll be honest, defense really dictates a lot of it. If the other team can't fucking score, I don't care if y'all can't score all the fucking time. Y'all will eventually get overpassed. But if y'all can be airtight, lockdown defense from point guard all the way down to center, that other team is going to struggle. But it's all easier said than done. The 2K community is ass, okay? To be perfectly honest with you, it's ass. Right? Saying otherwise, you're just being, it's ass. And 2K as a whole, as a franchise, is dog shit. Okay? Partially as a result of the community. But it's also, the devs don't do anything to help it either. So everyone, from my perspective, is at fault when it comes to this damn thing. This experience could be way better, but no one allows it to be. You know what I'm saying? Like, I ain't saying this gotta be fucking, like, you know, we all sitting there in a fucking, like, huddle circle jerking or some shit like that. Like, hell no, fuck that. I'm just simply saying, like I said earlier, just have some fucking cohesion. And sometimes it's gonna work, and other times it ain't. Sometimes the other team is just better, bro. I'm gonna be honest. Sometimes they're just better. Now, I'm not saying you can't try and do something about it throughout the game, but as you get to the fourth quarter and you're looking for what to blame and what is, you know, sometimes the other team is just better. You just say whatever, move on to the next game. And maybe the next time you queue up with randoms, you get a better set of randoms to where that if you were to play that same team again, it like the skill gap there or whatever they were doing to y'all is mediated quite substantially, idealistically anyways. So that way you guys can actually properly compete. But that also again comes down to cohesion with random people that you don't give a fuck about. See what I'm saying? So it's never gonna truly work out, in my personal opinion. I am very pessimistic when it comes to this game. Sucks to suck, I guess.